I'm Potato Dev Gamer, dev by day, game by heart. And today, we're diving into a game that dropped into my feed like an unexpected patch note and actually worked. Shocking, I know. Claire's Expedition 33, a game with a title that sounds like a Netflix survival drama, but surprise, it's actually good. Now, before you start thinking, oh, great. Another gotcha game with anime girls and combat mechanics that evaporate after the tutorial. Hold that thought. Because this one, it's built different. Turns out this expedition wasn't launched by some startup studio rolling dice in the dark. No, this came from developers who once worked for the giants, studios responsible for your favorite gotcha highs and your deepest wallet-related trauma. Yes, those studios. And guess what? Now that they're out on their own, no longer answering to shareholder meetings and crunch spreadsheets, they've built something clean, something polished, something that somehow respects your time. And yes, I'm just as confused as you are. So today, we're going full expedition mode. We're going to praise what works, call out what doesn't, and sarcastically salute the flaming corpses of design decisions their former companies are probably still making. This isn't a hype video. It's not a roast. It's a deep dive from someone who's coded for food and dodged gotcha hellfires long enough to spot both brilliance and bullshit. Let's talk visuals, combat, design, monetization, and the looming threat of power creep, with all the tacts of a monkey throwing devlogs at a wall. Welcome to Claire's Expedition 33. Let's see how far this expedition really goes. All right, let's talk presentation, the part of a game that slaps you in the face before you've even touched the controls. As a player, Claire's Expedition 33 is love at first click. Menus glad like butter, not like molasses. There's no 5-second lag between opening the inventory and seeing your items, which, trust me, is already an industry achievement. Looking at you, former employer X, remember that inventory freeze bug that stayed in beta and lived to see launch? From moment one, the game tells you, you can relax. You won't need a 45-minute YouTube guide to navigate this menu. Now, from a developer perspective, it's chef's kiss. The layout follows proper hierarchical UI design. Top-level buttons are placed where thumbs naturally rest. Hello, mobile usability. Element layering is consistent. Z-index abuse, nowhere to be found. And the transitions? Actual stateful animations, not just CSS trickery thrown into Unity like it's 2016. We're talking frame pacing that holds even during menu transitions. That might sound minor, but in engine terms, it means someone sat down, defined the component lifecycle, and didn't cry while wiring up callbacks. Seriously, compared to some games the devs worked on before, where half the UI was hard-coded XML and the other half was held together with duct tape and regrets, this feels like a system they could actually maintain and scale. Now, for the art direction. As a player, gorgeous. Every screen feels alive, but never overwhelming. The color palette leans into bold contrast without looking like it wandered out of an over-edited Photoshop thumbnail. From a dev's POV, this is high-efficiency art production. Why? Because the stylization lets them reuse modular assets while still looking bespoke. The lighting. Dynamic, but optimized with baked AO and intelligent LOV swapping. They've chosen a semi-stylized visual identity that minimizes texture memory bloat, which is genius for cross-platform play. And yes, it scales beautifully between PC and mobile. No, not like those scaling systems where mobile just removes the sky and turns characters into amorphous blobs. We're talking actual platform-tuned asset pipelines, probably using texture streaming and light map variants depending on target device specs. This is Unreal Engine handled by people who read the manual and didn't just download the top asset pack on the store. Also, character animations. Smooth. Expressive, face rigs that move naturally. You can tell the animators were given time, not told to deliver 50 emotes overnight using outdated mocap data from 2018. Compare that to, well, you remember that one game where blinking was optional and facial expressions ranged from mildly annoyed to I'm a JPEG. Claire's Expedition 33 feels like a team of artists and devs said, hey, let's show them what we could have done if we hadn't been stuck making event banners every 2 weeks for some other company's cash cow. This isn't just the glow up, it's a visual redemption arc.
Yeah, boy.
Let's just hope that the people in charge of future patches don't get bored and suddenly go, hey, what if the new UI had rotating loot crates on every tab?
No! God, please, no! No!
Because let's be real, that's how it usually starts.
Let's talk combat. Because if the game looks amazing but controls like a wet sock, we've got a problem. Thankfully, Claire's Expedition 33 doesn't just move well, it flows. As a player, the combat feels like someone finally understood that action should involve actual actions. No more clunky hitboxes or animations that take 3 business days to land. You dodge, you counter, you slash, and it all feels like it's coming from you, not the ghost of lag past. Now, from a developer's point of view, holy hell, someone actually gave a damn about animation blending and input buffering. Every attack string is well framed with clear anticipation and impact. That means the devs knew how to make combat feel responsive without being floaty. They're probably using root motion blending for grounded feel and inverse kinematics to keep limbs from looking like noodles. I'm not saying they wrote their own combat controller class from scratch, but if they did, it was probably beautiful, and I'd like to buy them a coffee.
Let's go.
And combos. They've nailed the golden ratio of complexity. Easy to learn, hard to master. None of that hold one button to autoplay nonsense, but also not rebind your keyboard to unlock the true potential of pressing Q either. Now compare this to some of their previous work. You know, the games where combat meant spamming one attack until your character entered their 15th animation phase, while the enemy patiently waited for their turn, like it's a damn turn-based RPG pretending to be real time. Not here. Enemies are aggressive, patterns are diverse, and, this is key, enemy tells are readable. That means someone actually sat down and designed combat around player fairness instead of, haha, surprise laser beam. It's not just spectacle either. There's impact design, sound cues, visual feedback, even subtle vibration response if you're playing on controller. It's designed to teach you, not punish you. Unless you zone out, in which case, yeah, get ready to see the game over screen and wonder where it all went wrong. And did I mention the cooldown management and energy systems? There's just enough complexity to keep you thinking without turning it into Excel, the game. Compare that to some of their past studios, where cooldowns were basically dice rolls and your special move was on a 3-week recharge unless you pulled the SSR Ultra Whale character. Here, you earn your power spikes. You time your dodges. You don't just win, you perform. So yeah, the combat system, absolutely beast mode.
That's what I'm talking about! That's why he's the MVP! That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
Like if Devil May Cry had a baby with a Souls-like, raised it on lean code, and fed it just enough coffee to stay awake through QA testing. Bravo, team. Now, please, for the love of player sanity, don't break it with patch 1.3.7 by adding autoplay for casuals or Hyper Boost Gotchasaur DLC. Let us enjoy the dance while it lasts. Now let's talk about something most gacha games treat like an afterthought: the story. And no, I don't mean the tap to skip 600 lines of exposition delivered by an anime girl who's also a god kind of story. Claire's Expedition 33 surprised me here. It didn't just throw random lore at a wall and pray for a wiki editor. It built something cohesive, a world with rules, tone, momentum, emotional payoffs. As a player, you feel it right away. The world isn't just a backdrop, it's alive. NPCs aren't generic exposition dispensers. They react, they evolve. Even minor dialogue choices circle back to earlier themes, which is great because I'd rather eat my keyboard than sit through another gotcha story where everyone has 10,000-year-old trauma and a part-time job at the coffee shop. And from a dev's perspective, oh my lore.
Yeah, boy.
Nice.
There's scene planning, there's actual narrative design flow, clear beats with rising tension and reflective moments. The quest structure feels authored, not randomly generated by an IR Storybot 3000 AI that just binged every isekai anime ever. They've probably built a custom in-engine storytelling toolkit.
I'm gonna come. Oh.
Why? Because dialogue transitions are seamless. No jarring cutscenes, no oops, everyone T-poses for 0.2 seconds before the camera fades out.
You didn't have to cut me off.
This smells like in-house cinematic scripting tools tied to the character controller, maybe even layered timelines for branching dialogues with baked lip syncs.
Yeah, boy.
Oh my God! Wow!
Compare that to the dev's past work.
Come on now, dawg. Come on, man.
Well, let's just say I remember one game where the epic reveal scene bugged out and had the villain monologuing directly into a wall. 10 out of 10 immersion. But here, there's pacing, there's buildup, and best of all, there's restraint. Claire's Expedition doesn't feel the need to dump a 500-year war history on you in the prologue. It lets the world breathe. It respects your brain and your time. A rare combo in this genre. And world building? Solid. Environmental storytelling is on point. Background details hint at politics, factions, culture, and past conflicts. They're doing that clever trick where the level designers work hand in hand with the writers instead of doing a 2 a.m. lore doc drop and telling art to make it vibe. It's subtle, but powerful. A broken statue in a forgotten temple, a weapon rusting near a shrine, a dead tree carved with names you'll hear again later. This game trusts the player to connect dots, not to have every dot shoved down your throat with neon arrows.
Yeah, boy.
So to the team formerly working on games that gave us 6-minute monologues about space whales and emotional betrayal between characters introduced 4 seconds ago, this is your redemption arc. Please don't lose it. Don't let post-launch fatigue turn this into another skip text, skip life gotcha story. Keep those writers caffeinated and those narrative tools humming, because this is the kind of storytelling that gets clipped on Twitter, discussed in Discord, and remembered. And then a sea of emotionally dead gotcha titles? Claire's Expedition 33 is the one that said, we can do better. And, shockingly, did.
That's what I'm talking about! That's why he's the MVP! That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
Now, here's where it gets a little awkward, because Claire's Expedition 33 doesn't just hold its own in the story department. It absolutely dunks on most AAA games released in the last 3 years. Let's do some quick comparisons. You know what most AAA studios give us lately? Stories that feel like they were written during lunch breaks, open worlds with the narrative depth of a dry toast, dialogue trees that branch once into yes or sarcastic yes, and cutscenes where characters float, glitch, or stare directly into the void like it's Tuesday. Claire's Expedition 33. Fully voiced scenes with emotive timing, custom dialogue scripting tools that don't crash mid-monologue, story arcs that, gasp, resolve, and no one's eyeballs pop out of their skulls during an emotional scene. That's already GOATY material by modern standards. And even on the technical side, this game hits harder than half the big-budget open-world disasters we've seen lately. Remember the AAA title that spent $100 million and gave us unskippable 30-minute intros, invisible horses, and an immersive world where every NPC was voiced by the same 3 guys with sore throats? Claire's Expedition 33, on what's likely a fraction of that budget, gave us cleanly choreographed scenes, smooth cinematic transitions, no Unity jitters or hold still while I rotate the camera 180 degrees in your face, and a story that knows where it's going and respects that you, the player, might also have a life. And look, I'm not saying AAA games are all bad. Some are great, but many of them spend more time marketing their story than actually writing it. Whereas Claire's team, they just quietly dropped a functional, emotionally intelligent narrative without a 5-minute trailer narrated by generic bearded male protagonist 47. It's like comparing a small team that gave a damn to a boardroom that said, let's remake Skyrim, but worse and with NFTs.
No! God, please, no! 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 No!
So yeah, Claire's Expedition 33 didn't just outright, outdirect, and outperform its own genre peers. It accidentally outclassed half of what the AAA industry has been pumping out. And that's kind of tragic. Because one game was built by people who got freedom after corporate burnout, and the other by teams still trapped in sprint hell, praying upper management doesn't ask for one more live service pivot. So to the devs of Claire's, keep your writers caffeinated, keep the narrative tools sharp, and please, don't hire that one guy who thought Forspoken's dialogue was quirky and fun. You're doing great. Just don't get acquired. All right, let's address the glowing credit card in the room, monetization. Now, as a player, the first reaction is pure confusion. Wait, I can actually play the game without swiping? No energy timers shoved down my throat every 5 minutes. No pop-up banners screaming, limited time VIP pack when I just open my inventory. What kind of dystopia is this?
You didn't have to cut me off.
It's not that the game has no monetization, it's that the monetization actually feels like part of the design rather than a hostile takeover of it. Now, from a developer's perspective, this is the textbook example of how to integrate monetization without destroying gameplay flow. They've clearly implemented a modular gotcha system, likely tied into server-side balancing to avoid exploits, but more importantly, they haven't leaned into it like it's their only source of income. It's the kind of economy you design when the creative director says, let's not make people hate us this time, and the producer actually agrees. Currency flow is tight, but not stingy.
You're earning just enough premium pulls to stay engaged without falling into full despair, which, let's be real, is already more ethical than half the mobile market. And here's a huge red flag they avoided. No trap packs. You know those low-tier offers designed to bait you into a spending spiral? Nope, not here. Instead, you get clear, upfront pricing and, I can't believe I'm saying this, reasonable bundle value.
Yeah, boy.
I'm gonna come.
It's almost like they respect your intelligence instead of betting their Q4 earnings on your FOMO and bad impulse control. Compare this to the games these devs probably used to work on. You know, the ones where the monetization team was given more power than the narrative designers, where every second line of dialogue was followed by, "Unlock this scene for $9.99.
Come on now, dawg. Come on, man.
Yeah, those days are gone, at least here. Now, do I trust this system forever? No, because this industry has trust issues. One patch, one exec, one shareholder tantrum, and suddenly we're back in $30 for a skin and it's not even animated territory. But for now, Claire's Expedition 33 feels like a game made by people who actually asked, how do we make money without alienating the 99% of players who just want to have fun? The monetization is almost humble. And in a genre known for financial extortion, that's unsettling. But hey, maybe the real twist is they made something good, sold it fairly, and didn't ruin it on purpose. Plot twist. Ethics exist. Let's be real. Nothing's perfect. Not even Claire's Expedition 33. So here it is, the dark side of the expedition. The bugs, the bloat, the back-end band-aids, and those little oh no moments that make every veteran gamer twitch in PTSD. First off, performance spikes. Yes, the game runs smooth most of the time, but drop into a high-density zone with too many particle effects, and suddenly your frame rate starts stuttering like it just got a bad tax return. It's clear they pushed the engine hard, and kudos for that. But some systems are crying for optimization passes that never came. Shaders are heavy, post-processing stacks, thick. It's like the lighting dev had a personal vendetta against mobile users. And don't even get me started on the camera system. Most of the time, it's cinematic, clean, responsive, but occasionally it glitches into indie horror found footage mode, zooming into walls, clipping through floors, and aiming directly at Claire's armpit mid-boss fight. Yes, immersion is important, but I'd rather see the battlefield and be reminded of the sweat shader quality. Combat balance is another red flag in disguise. You know what I mean. There's difficulty, and then there's, hey, what if this mini-boss just ignored all stagger mechanics and launched an AoE combo that clipped through geometry? Some of the enemy scaling feels less like challenge and more like, we ran out of time to balance this, but hey, HP times 10. And for all the beautiful attack strings we praised earlier, there are a few half-baked weapon types and skills that feel like they were shoved in last minute by the intern who just discovered Unity's animator panel. Also, the UI. Yes, it's generally clean, but why in the year 2025 are we still designing menus where you need 3 clicks to find your gear stats? It's like someone studied UX flow, saw what works, and then just did the opposite out of spite. World events? Sparse. It's a beautiful world, but not a very busy one. Feels like the devs spent 90% of their time crafting the terrain and forgot to fill it with, content.
You can only admire the same scenic overlook so many times before it turns into glorified wallpaper. And then there's inventory management. No filters, no sorting, no stack merging, just you, a pile of loot, and a scrolling marathon that screams, "We'll fix this later." But we all know they won't. From the dev side, these aren't just oversights. They're the classic signs of a team working overtime, triaging bugs, and throwing out MVP features to meet a launch window. And hey, I get it. We've all seen it. We've all shipped something we weren't proud of just to avoid a 6-month delay. But that doesn't mean we can't point it out. Because here's the kicker. These flaws aren't massive yet, but if they don't tighten the screws, Claire's Expedition 33 will follow the same tragic arc as the dev's old companies. Start strong, get bloated, lose direction, patch on monetization, burn out goodwill, and ride the whale train straight to irrelevance. And you know what the saddest part would be? They know better now. They've escaped those corporate chains. They've got a player base rooting for them. They just need to stay focused, stay lean, and for the love of God, stop adding cosmetics before fixing the pathfinding bugs. So here's the tough love. Claire's Expedition 33 is amazing, but it's one bad roadmap decision away from becoming yet another got to flame out TM. Don't let it happen. We've been hurt before.
So here we are. The expedition nears its end. But let's talk about the future. Claire's Expedition 33 isn't just a fluke. It's proof that a team of developers, likely battle-scarred from their time under soul-crushing AAA management, can crawl out of the corporate wreckage and go, let's just make something good for once. And holy crap, they did. As it stands now, Claire's Expedition 33 feels like a love letter to actual game development. It's focused, it's fluid, it respects your time, and somehow it respects your wallet too. It's like someone said, what if we made a game for people who, like games? Now, let's pause and compare that to the AAA industry over the last 3 years. You know the ones. One launched with 1.5 hours of gameplay and 27 hours of patch notes. Another promised next-gen AI and gave us enemies that moonwalk into walls. And don't forget that $120 deluxe edition that came with a cardboard skin and an existential crisis. Meanwhile, Claire's quietly dropped with more polish than most AAA titles after their third delay. But here's the real test: sustainability. Because making a great launch title, that's hard. Keeping it great without succumbing to greed, burnout, or feature bloat, that's the final boss fight. Right now, the devs have momentum. They have goodwill. They have a player base that isn't just tolerating the game, they're actually enjoying it. Crazy concept, I know. But if they want to keep that momentum, they've got to avoid every single trap their former employers walked into. No roadmap filled with NFTs, no live service pivot 3 months in, and for the love of all things playable, no randomly generated endgame dungeons with loot boxes inside other loot boxes. Keep that world alive. Keep that combat tight. And don't patch in a battle pass where 90% of the rewards are profile icons and regrets. This game has heart. It has vision. It has actual developer soul poured into its codebase, and I swear you can feel it when you play. So here's to Claire, to the devs, to the studio that looked at the wreckage of their past AAA lives and said, we can do better. You already did. Now don't lose it. We're watching, we're playing, and we're quietly praying you don't turn into the very studios you escaped from. And hey, if you ever do mess it up, don't worry. We'll be here with screenshots and very long sarcastic videos. Thanks for the ride, Expedition 33. Just don't add autoplay. And if you enjoyed this descent into praise, canic, and passive-aggressive sarcasm, well, I'm Potato Dev Gamer. Dev by day, game by heart. Just a guy who codes for a living and games to stay sane. If you're into deep dives like this, where we analyze, admire, roast, and occasionally cry over pixels and polygons,
go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Drop a like. Leave a comment. Tell me what you loved, hated, or screamed at in Claire's Expedition 33. And let me know which game should get roasted next. This channel isn't sponsored. It's just raw, honest commentary from a gamer who also knows what it's like to sit in a planning meeting where the producer says, "Can we make the gotcha system more psychologically manipulative?" So yeah, subscribe if you're tired of shallow takes. Stick around if you want more content where we dig beneath the surface, break down systems, and occasionally throw shade with love. Thanks for watching. And until next time, keep your code clean, your cooldown short, and your monetization mostly optional. Peace out.